Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is Paula Fern coming to you live from my travel and well-being page. I hope everybody is doing very well. If you are catching me here and you are live catching me when I've posted this, give us a hashtag live. If you're catching me a little bit later on, give us a hashtag replay and tell me what you've done with your day today. Tell me what time it is where you are, because I know that a lot of people on this page are from all over the world, so we're probably all in different time zones. I'd love to know what time it is where you are and what you've just done. Let me know what you've just done. So at the time of recording this, it's 10:30 in the morning. I've just been in school with my daughter learning about phonics and learning better ways that I can help her learn reading and be more fluent in her reading. So that was quite good. Her primary school are amazing, and they were just so good. So I've decided to start this really interesting slot called Top 7 at 7, and you will see this at 7 p.m. UK time, wherever you may be. Just calculate that time. And the reason that I'm doing that is because there's lots happening in travel at the moment. These are all top 7 travel news features, and I get updates every single week from what's happening in travel, whether that's to do with ABTA and ATOL or it's to do with what's going on all over the world. In the US is going to be the first thing that I'm talking about in a minute. Whether it's related to how much it's going to cost you to go places, whether there's any hidden fees that are going to be introduced because of the loss in revenue over the past couple of years in the travel industry, and basically where travel is going to be going to as well. So we've got a piece here on emissions as well, which is really close to my heart because we have a tree planting project that we've introduced with our travel club for all of our travel club members as well. So I'm going to start with US. In the US, specialists bookings amid high profile reopening. So this is all about US specialists in the travel sector report continued strong forward and short-term demand as Virgin Atlantic and British Airways temporarily set aside rivalries and they do a dual takeoff to celebrate the reopening of transatlantic routes. Now, this is really exciting because if people are going to put when companies are in competition with each other, it can either be that they're in competition and that's that, and they're not going to speak and they're not going to work together, or it can be we're in competition, but our people need us, let's work together. And the second option is what these guys are going for, which I think is absolutely incredible. But because that's happening, what it's also saying is, so one of the sales directors of Gold Medal has said that US sales had largely driven the trade-only operator's strongest sales month since the start of the pandemic in October. And he, excuse me, he added to that the high-profile nature of the restart will only have helped to whet travelers' appetites. Now, I don't know about you, but everyone I speak to right now just wants to get out there. They want to get on a plane, they want to go somewhere different, they want to make some memories with their loved ones, and this is just something that's going to become stronger and stronger, a stronger and stronger feeling. So 18% of people who intend to go abroad next year are planning to travel to the US, which is incredible. I'm one of those, so I am a statistic. I'm going to be going over to the States a couple of times next year. I'm going to be going to San Diego to our head office, and I'm going to be going to New Orleans at least. I want to kind of put a couple more in there, but it's going to depend on school times and all sorts of different things. So there's a company, the Advantage Travel Partnership, said both leisure and business bookings to the US had increased. And someone has mentioned here that travel remains incredibly complicated. It is if you want to view it as complicated. For me, it's not, because of what I have in front of me and what I use to to book all my travel and how I plan my travel. I just do it all myself. It's pretty straightforward and there's no sort of hidden complications. It's just really, really simple. You take out a subscription with us, you choose where you want to go, you book it, you go. Simple as that. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And I'm trying to get that message out. Keep it simple. We've got enough complications going on in our lives. So that was number one. Number two, the travel sector pledges emissions cuts ahead of the COP26 Transport Day. So there have been pledges made to slash greenhouse gas emissions dominated the climate conference in Glasgow. Now, I've posted about this on my personal timeline because it's something that we are also contributing as a company to. We're planting trees for every subscription that is taken out, different numbers of trees for different subscriptions, and it's all in line with what you're likely to use in emissions for the first year of your membership. And I think it's a really important part of what we do in recognition for the fact that we are in travel. Traveling by plane can have a huge impact on our environment. So if we're not in a position where we're fixing that along the way as well, I think it makes us quite irresponsible. So that's why we introduced that part to our travel club membership, and that's exclusive at the moment with our Dragonfly Voyages team. So if you do not know about our Dragonfly Voyages or Team Dragonflies, do comment below because I will make sure that you can get some information. You can also go to dragonflyvoyages.info and find out about us there as well. So travel and tourism leaders led the way during this conference in Glasgow. And they led the way with the net zero pledges. The World Travel and Tourism Council, for example, joined the UN Climate Organization in launching a net zero roadmap on Tuesday, acknowledging that the industry is responsible for 8 to 10% of GHG emissions. Now, members of Cruise Association CLIA agreed on Monday also to check net zero sailing by 2050 and a 40% fleet-wide. So CLIA are part of the cruise regulators, and a 40% fleet-wide reduction of carbon emissions by 2030. So everybody is getting involved in reducing emissions. They realise the importance of this when it comes to travel. It doesn't mean we're going to step away from providing travel and making sure that our travel is affordable, but we're recognising that this is something that needs to be addressed, and we're making moves to do that. As I said, our Team Dragonflies are also doing that, and we started it before I read this as well. This was not an idea that I had it way before that. So there's lots of talk here about UK is leading efforts to decarbonise the sector. So the government hopes to head off criticism and promote that idea more. So it might be that we're going to start seeing a lot more UK-based companies that are talking about reducing the carbon footprint. We're already seeing in adverts and all sorts of things that we see on the television that people are striving to do that. Now, a lot of the announcements that were announced, that were told following the Glasgow Declaration during that COP26 conference, they were issued during the conference and agreed with and signed by more than 300 signatories, which includes Visit Scotland, Skyscanner, which is a great site, ATO, ETOA, and they're at WTTC, and they're pledging to halve emissions by 2030 and reach net zero as soon as possible before 2050. So it's something. Climate change, as a travel co-founder here says, is an existential crisis, and if we don't fix it, we don't have an industry. People are going to struggle to travel if we're not fixing what's around us as well. So it's an incredibly powerful place to be in the travel industry right now. And not because it has a negative impact, but I think it's leading the way in having that positive impact. We're all being prompted to make sure that we're recycling and doing all the things in the home that we can. But when we go and get in the car to go shopping, to get groceries, or we've got to be more mindful of every way that we travel, and that includes all kinds of travel, whether it's a car or a plane or a train or whatever it might be. So having that mindfulness means we can actually make decisions and change things for the better, which is I'm a huge advocate for. So the third story that I've seen that I think you'll find interesting is that travel firm failures rise to 69 in the past year. It's quite a sad one, to be honest, because I do know people that have been impacted by this. Now, this is about insolvencies of UK travel agencies over the past year because of what's been happening in the world with the pandemic and everything else. So it rose to 17% in the past year, from 59 to 69. So in 1 year, it's gone up by 17% for smaller companies, according to an international audit. Now, the company that did the audit warned the end of a ban on winding up orders could further exacerbate issues for any companies that are carrying debt. Something to be aware of when it comes to this. When you pay for your holiday through mainstream and traditional travel agents, I want you to be aware that some agents, not all of them, but some agencies, some companies will keep that payment back, and they will pay the bare minimum to your hotel and your flight and whatever it is that you've booked. And they will keep back a percentage of that to settle the bill later on in the year. And this was a problem a couple of years ago. Before the pandemic, we actually had companies go under because we had customers that didn't get their holidays and their vacations because that company were going through financial difficulties, a financial crisis, if you will. And it got to a point where they didn't have enough money to cover what they said they'd booked. So they were keeping money back, but that was being used for other things that were happening in the company. And when it came to settling the vacation and making sure that the whole trip has been financially settled and all paid for, people were finding out that's not happened. Now, customers had paid that in good faith. And a lot of people don't know that some companies will keep that percentage back and not settle it. So you're going into that travel agent, or you're going online and you're paying a lot off for a trip next year. But not all of that goes direct to who you're booking with, where your holiday is at. So if you're going through an agency, that agency may well keep some money back. And what happened a couple of years ago, a company that did this actually went into insolvency. They didn't have the money to settle their bills. They didn't have the money to settle customers' vacation bills that of customers had already paid in full. And there was a whole host of customers that didn't have their holiday, but they also didn't get given their money back either. So they would have had to follow the legal route, as you do if a company becomes insolvent. And it breaks my heart because it was such a difficult time for a lot of people when that happened. It was a very, what you would think, a big company that you can rely on in the UK. It was like a household name, and it was no longer available and people lost money. So what it's saying here, because of what's been going on over the last year, 17% in the past year, it's risen that UK travel agencies are becoming insolvent. Winding up orders could further make these issues very difficult if they are already carrying debt. Now, I just want to make you fully aware that this is something that has not ever impacted what I do with my travel club and my travel club subscription. If there is a company that's becoming insolvent, that's a travel agency in the UK, it has no impact on me whatsoever. If there is a hotel chain that's no longer available, no impact on me or my customers whatsoever. And that's because we are independent of all of those ties, if you will. And the owner of our company is an absolutely amazing guy, but also a 30+ year experienced business owner. He's also had sort of a face fronting business. Now his business has gone online. He's been runner-up in Inc. magazine. You will see people in Inc. magazine, including Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, all the financial sort of financially successful people feature in Inc. magazine. If you don't know it, go look it up. But he was a runner-up with that magazine for Businessman of the Year. And I've not come across someone that is just so ethical and thoughtful and selfless in some ways. I mean, it's a business. He's making money and needs to make money, and he's got bills to pay. So do I. And yet I earn money as well. I can pay my bills as well, but I can help people do the same as what I'm doing. I don't have to worry about a company going insolvent and losing all my money, because at the end of the day, I don't pay anything for what I have now. The subscription that I have is completely free. I have trips that I can go on that are completely free. If a hotel chain that we use that I'd booked through was to go down, then I would be covered via my insurance. And depending on how far ahead in advance, as with anything, that trip was, then I could transfer it onto something else or look at replacing it with something else and potentially get a refund. But either way, what I would say, because it's a big area, this, and I'm not going to talk about it for much longer, but it's a big area, and it's an area that really puts the fear into people that are considering booking travel, especially with what's going on in the last year. I just want to give you some reassurance. If you are worried about anything in terms of insolvency of companies, or excuse me, it's putting you off booking anything, come and speak to me, because I'll be able to reassure you, because everything that this article says about is not relevant to what I do or my company. It's just so far off even a remote possibility. And that's because this business has been going for 9 years. We actually grew 400% during the pandemic. We didn't lose anything, we grew. And I think you'll find a lot of companies within travel didn't grow during that time. And well, you can see a lot are becoming insolvent because it's still having that knock-on effect. So come and chat to me. Come and have a chat with me about that. So, number 4, travellers deemed fully vaccinated without their booster jab. Quick note about this story before we go further. I'm not vaccinated COVID. I am not planning on being. But what I am is pro-choice. So if you want to go and take that vaccination, then I will give you all the information you need travel-wise to help you. If you don't want that vaccination, I will give you all the information you need travel-wise to not have that vaccination and how things work. So this is the story in a magazine, and as I said, this is a magazine I get delivered every single week, and it gives us a really sort of rounded view of what's going on in the world. So there is no immediate threat of change to the definition of fully vaccinated to include COVID booster jabs for travellers, say senior aviation sources. So these are senior sources within the aviation field, so in the flight industry. A report at the weekend warned UK travellers who failed to take booster jabs face renewed restrictions, suggesting that ministers are drawing up plans to reimpose quarantine and testing for those who refuse. But a source actually told this magazine that I get each week, Travel Weekly, that Our understanding is the booster shot forms part of being fully vaccinated without a need for additional certification. Bringing that in at the current time would mean the majority in the UK would be deemed not fully vaccinated. It doesn't seem feasible. Look how long it has taken to get to the level of 2 vaccinations. Unless there is an international alignment, it would cause all sorts of complexity. One would hope they wait until after the winter. They also added, the system feels pretty stable for now. We don't sense any real concern from ministers. What would create an immediate reaction would be if a new variant appears anywhere. So on Monday, the government announced an easing of restrictions, extending recognition of vaccines to those made in China, which will benefit arrivals from countries like the UAE, Malaysia, India, and confirming all under 18 arrivals in England will be treated as fully vaccinated from November the 22nd. It also confirmed it will continue to review the red list every 3 weeks. And the source described retaining the red list as sensible, arguing that to remove the policy could cause all sorts of problems down the track. Austria and Israel have imposed time limits on the validity of vaccinations for travellers without the booster jabs. Israel has a 180-day limit and Austria has a 360-day limit. Booster jabs are available to the UK 1250s, and Virgin Atlantic Chief Executive expressed the hope that COVID tests would soon be removed for vaccinated travellers as the US border reopened on Monday. And the Virgin Atlantic Chief Executive also said, we have to get back to a position of no testing. It could be possible by the beginning of next year. So I'd say this is quite hopeful. This piece is quite hopeful, in all honesty. It's basically saying that you are deemed fully vaccinated with one vaccination, which is great. I know for a fact that traveling right now doesn't require a vaccination to certain countries. And I know right now that you can, as long as you've had a negative PCR and you're not displaying any symptoms, that you are very safe to fly in a lot of countries all around the world. Now, what we're getting to is a point where we're getting told one thing by one hand and told another by another hand. What I would recommend that you always do is go to the government website of whatever country it's regarding that you're traveling to and check their details. It's not until you get out there and actually travel that you're going to see how, in my opinion, there's a lot of things that are not necessarily accurate based on real lived experience of going out there, traveling, getting on planes and going to airports and things like that. From what I see of my customers and people I know that are traveling right now, it's not quite as intimidating as it may appear. Always check the country. If you have any questions about this, please do get in touch. I know that it can feel a bit intimidating. Part of what I do as part of my job is to actually help people face the fears that they're having around this kind of thing and manage those fears and manage the changes that the world has implemented, which has gone crazy, hasn't it? We live in a crazy world, but I help people manage the changes that are out there and that are happening day to day. So if you want to talk about that as well, please get in touch. Go to don'tjustimagine.com and we can arrange a chat as well. If you send me contact us and you can send me a message, or you can message me directly, fine as well. So where are we up to? Number 5, I think. Let me see what else we've got. So this is really, really nice. Now, there's a couple here. I'm going to put them all into one because there's a couple of announcements that I want to talk about separately. Actually, I'll keep them separate, but Barbados. Who wants to go Barbados? Barbados's UK flight capacity is to increase to 80% by the end of the year, by the end of this year. So we're in 2021. Flight capacity to Barbados will be restored to just under 80% of 2019 levels by the end of this year, as the destination enjoys a swift recovery, according to Tourism Minister Lisa Cummins. This is exciting because Barbados is on a lot of people's bucket list. And as you might see from some of the things that I share, we actually help people go on those bucket list trips. Barbados is always up there on at least a handful of people. Do you know, when you're chatting to people, Barbados is like a dream vacation, isn't it? So Cummins said that sales to the Caribbean island mushroomed when Barbados went onto the UK's green list in June, so it shot right up. And air capacity has since been restored to 60% of pre-pandemic levels. British Airways offer flights out of Gatwick and Heathrow, while Virgin Atlantic, see how they're working together, I'm loving it. Virgin Atlantic has routes out of Heathrow and Manchester. Aer Lingus began flying from Manchester to Barbados for the first time in October this year, and Virgin's first Edinburgh to Barbados service starts on December the 5th. This is pretty exciting. I mean, opening up different areas of the world is fantastic, but seeing people travel to those destinations and get that hospitality in that country running again is just heartwarming, because we have a duty. I feel we have a duty to go and help countries with the hospitality industry. It's not their fault that the world stopped for a while. It's not our fault that we've missed out on these trips. So let's put the past behind us. Let's find ways of getting there and going and enjoying ourselves. And it mentions there about the flights. Now, I know little secrets and tips on how to get affordable flights. But not only on that, on the back of that, with our Travel Club subscription, then you're going to get absolutely bargain luxury. Now, those two words don't normally go together very well, but you're getting bargain luxury. I'm talking about 5-star resorts for a bargain price that you can't get through a travel agent. It's impossible. You just can't get it through a travel agent. We're exclusive. It's only with us. So to put those two together, we're starting to get out there, aren't we? We're starting to enjoy ourselves again. Another destination we've got is Egypt. So Egypt milestones herald very special tourism year in 2022. So next year is going to be incredible for Egypt. It's gearing up for a very special year with new attractions set to open and landmark anniversaries to celebrate. So the Grand Egyptian Museum is due to open in summer. I've seen work on this museum. It looks incredible. If I get a chance, I will do a piece on this museum in Egypt because it's stunning. And if you're into history and into sort of ancient Egyptian history and culture and all sorts of things, it's definitely something you want to be checking out, and that opens in the summer of next year. In November also, they'll be organising a huge parade in Luxor. Now, this sounds very interesting. I think I'd like to go to this. It was also said that the British are very much connected to the discovery of Tutankhamun, an archaeological project led by British Egyptologist Howard Carter. We studied this in school, you know. It's all coming back to me now. It's 200 years since the decipherment of the Rosetta Stone, so it's a very special year next year. And the Red Sea Resort Sharm el Sheikh has now reopened, and there's extra rooms, there's extra carriers for flights. Egypt Air restarted its weekly flight from Heathrow on November the 1st. And there's all sorts of exciting things happening in Egypt. And Egypt is on my bucket list. It has been since I was just a child. Seeing those pyramids and the Sphinx fascinates me. So I've got a lot of trips planned for next year already, but I would love to add Egypt to that list. So watch this space, because if I do, I'll be sharing it here. So that's 6 of the things I wanted to talk to, just as a bit of a travel news roundup, if you like, for this week. But there's another couple. I was going to do 7, but there's another couple of things I need to tell you about. I've talked about our travel club subscription through this video. If it's something you want to check out a bit more of, with no obligation, there's no pressure, no strings attached, but if you want to listen in to how this all works and how you can get 70% plus discount on global luxury travel, then on Monday at midday UK time, so midday GMT, there's, look up your local sort of time zone, just to make sure that it's convenient. We're going to be holding, well, I'm going to be hosting a presentation just to tell you more about how all this works and how it fits in, and how some of it will be about how I saved like nearly 7,000 on 5 trips with my 4 children, £7,000. And that amount continues to grow, because this year I've had trips and stayed in hotels, and I've saved around £50 on average each night that I've stayed in different places. So that amount grows as you travel, which is inevitable because of the way that it's set up, and that's the whole point, let's face it. Oh yeah, no, it's not Monday, it's Wednesday the 24th at midday. Wednesday 24th at midday. It's a Zoom call. I'll be hosting it. I'll be telling you all about our travel club and the impact it's had on me and members of our community, and how it can help you as well, for any travel you're looking at in the next 2 years. And this is why we had such massive growth during a pandemic, because we know people want to travel. It's something that's kind of ingrained into us, you know. We know people want to travel. What we also know is that people can't necessarily afford to travel like they'd want to. So that's where we come in, and we know it works, but you can use what you get from your membership. We always work within a 2-year window. So although people had travel booked from 2020, the travel booked for 2021, it was unsure whether they could go. So some just cancelled. Others were holding off and crossing everything to hope that they could go. But some just cancelled, and then they've checked out what we do, and they just come over and do it through us, because they've got the control over it then. So they can see what's going on in the world, and they can decide when they're going to book, where they're going to book, and they're going to get a boatload of cash back. Well, they don't get cash back, but they get a massive discount. The maximum discount I've had is 97% for a week. 6 of us, 97%. It's just like, wow. The final announcement that I would like to give you as well. So if you're wanting to travel for you and your family, and you're wanting to make sure that you can travel because of everything that's been going on, you want to make sure it's secure, you want to make sure you're not going to lose any money, you can only save. It's a win-win with us, you know. But we also have business related trips. So I earn a living doing this. I earn a living through what I do here, through travel, which is, it's a dream come true. And if you want to do that, you can. Like I mentioned, we've got a call on Wednesday the 24th at midday GMT. But what you can also do with your membership or your subscription, you can arrange to go on business trips and go and meet some of the people from all over the world. We're in 63 different countries. Go meet people from all over the world, all coming to one place. Might be Las Vegas, might be Cancun, might be Thailand, might be anywhere in the world, wherever that, what we call a world tour is. It's all across the world. There's loads of them to choose from, and you can go and meet people that feel as passionately as you do about travel, about making money, and about feeling accepted and enjoying your life, and not thinking about all the negative stuff, and just kind of getting on with living. I think a lot of us have living on hold. The world's been locked down. We've been at a loose end. We've been desperate to find something to fill our time sometimes. We work from home and it's caused stress. We school from home and it's caused stress. So we just want to get out there. So if that's of interest to you, I'm going to share more about world tours later on. But this is going to be a regular feature. Top 7 at 7 p.m. It should be 7 p.m. GMT way if you're in the UK. And this has been pre-recorded, although it should be live going on from next week. So if you've got value from this, please do share it. Share it with your friends, share it in Messenger, share it on WhatsApp, share it in your groups or on your other pages. Share it wherever you like if you've got value from this. And if you want to talk more about anything that I've mentioned, please do get in touch. Like I mentioned, don'tjustimagine.com is my website. You can fill in a form there just to ask a question, or if you've got anything you want to add. My email addresses that are there as well. But if you want it, it's paula@don'tjustimagine.com. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok as Don't Just Imagine. I'm on Instagram and I'm on YouTube. So please connect with me somehow. Check out what I'm talking about. See what you can see. There's lots of exciting things happening for 2022, and it's going to be a really, really huge year for me in business, and I just can't wait. So excited for what's to come. Thank you for watching now, and do take care. Have a lovely, lovely day. Take care. Bye bye.